You are listening to the Spiritual Warrior Coach with Barbara Savin, the podcast for discovering how powerful your wisdom, compassion, and courage is. Get ready to join Barbara and her guests as they explore and offer you advice on how to reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. And now, here's the host of the show, Barbara Savin.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. I am your host, Barbara Savin, and I am here to help you reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. I am a certified clinical and medical hypnotherapist, Reiki master and teacher, energy healing specialist, life coach, and best-selling author of Gentle Energy Touch, The Beginner's Guide to Energy Healing. You know, I have been helping my clients for over 35 years, and I always mention to them how important it is for them to think positive and to truly believe in themselves. You know, your mind is going to provide you with your greatest challenges in life because it's so very, very powerful. So let's use that mind for positive thinking, creating harmony, balance, peace, love, happiness, and anything else that your heart desires, because one day the world will tap you on your shoulder and say, this is your time to shine. And speaking about shining, I'm going to bring on my guest right now. Hello, Kathy. How are you?
Hi, Barbara. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Let me tell my listeners a little bit about you. Kathy Batista is the go-to coach for midlife women. She believes midlife isn't just based on age. It's a phase of life and can be your best one yet. And by tapping into your values and strengths, you can take aligned action to create purpose and joy, leading to that often missing sense of complete fulfillment. So now is your time. And Kathy, having navigated midlife changes and shifts, she offers guidance and compassion to women asking themselves, is this it or what's next? And she enjoys sharing the tools of her growth with her clients and peers. And Kathy has certifications in life designer coaching, thought coaching, quantum time technique, and mindfulness facilitation. And Kathy coaches women to discover their midlife magic through conscious healing and self-discovery. So welcome to the show, Kathy. Wow, that's a lot of responsibility there.
Thank you. Yes, it's a lot of fun too.
Yes, it is. Wow. So what made you get into all this?
Yeah, so it started for me really in not a great place. I kind of had my own midlife hiccup, and I was surprised to learn this, and a lot of my clients are too. Midlife is age 35 to 70.
Oh,
And we're in this point, and it's just the largest phase of our life. You know, you're a young adult from about 20 to somewhere around 35. And these are, again, just numbers, people's experiences, their life leads them in different ways. Some people may not feel they're in midlife until well after 40. For me personally, I started feeling the physical and mental and emotional things that come with entering into this new phase of life. And as a woman, it's now called perimenopause. So, yeah. And the roller coaster began. And so I struggled a lot because I didn't know that I was shifting into a new part of life. I didn't know my body was changing. All I had known about was menopause, and that would be sometime after 50.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked pretty simple. You just stopped your period, right? And so that's it. And so all of these changes that were happening left me feeling really raw and empty and lonely. And and just full of blah and sadness. But what I did to myself was worse. I actually compounded it with guilt and shame because everything looked so good on the outside, and I didn't know why I was miserable, why I just was not happy. And so I tried everything to fill that void. And, I did so many different things that were harmful to myself. And it really led me down a path, like most people, when you're tired of being sick and tired, then you're going to make some changes. And so I did. I had some therapies, some doctors working on, your hormones and life balancing things. But I also had a coach to help me kind of answer those questions. Like, is this it? What's next? And I was working with her, and like all great ideas, it just happened. And I said, oh my gosh, I could do this. I could turn around and help the women that are on that cusp. And what I came to find out is those transitional points of midlife, because it's such a huge time period, there's a lot of them, and it happens at all different points. It's not just one and done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens. I know I probably went through it around 35, and it lasted until maybe for about 10 years till I finally figured out what is next. I did feel, crazy. My mood swings were like this, like a roller coaster ride. And I wasn't quite sure what was going on. And back then it was challenging to find somebody, to help you, but I knew this wasn't the end of the world. So I actually looked to help myself, which I did, but through, energy healing and visualization, meditation, I went the natural way, and it worked, don't get me wrong. It was a little bit of a struggle. But there was definitely that, the tunnel at the, the light at the end of the tunnel, you could say.
Oh, definitely. I think that knowledge is so great. And I too, did mindset work and mindfulness. And that's really how I came to develop the coaching program that I have, is because it is this look at our mind, body, and soul. Exactly what you're saying. Our energy field is so big and has layers, and we need to address that. And it's amazing the work that you do to address our energy on all different levels. And so it's so important to work with that.
Yeah, it is, because, we're not just our body. We're the, as you mentioned, body, mind, spirit. And people tend to forget that, when we think negative and we don't like ourselves and we beat ourselves up, that's just making the matter worse. And then we're becoming a victim of our own thoughts. And so it's so important to change the way we think and know that this too shall pass. And I need to find help and, to get myself out of this. I see so many women, that struggle with, this midlife crisis. All of a sudden, the kids are older, or they go to college, and now they're lost. They're home. They may not have worked because they raised their children, which is more work than anything. And then there they are by themselves, and they don't know what to do, for themselves. I mean, I would assume that would be your biggest struggle, seeing women, as they enter, midlife crisis.
Yeah, I think that you definitely addressed the kind of question is people say, what's next? Is this it? Because we're in this transition. And I find it is a common question, but what's different about it is that this is historically a phase in our life where we aren't surrounded by a community of people kind of doing the same thing. Like if we look at the other phases in our life, right, we've got our graduating class from high school, and maybe not everybody went to college, maybe some worked, but you were in this together. You were making that transition together. And then you had friends who were getting married and friends who were having children. And then you kind of become this, you have friends, but you are thinking, okay, what's next? What else is there? And so a lot of times it's not having that compassion and understanding of it's okay to change and have a transition. It's okay to be uncomfortable and feel like you want something more or something different. When we were going from high school to college, the difference is, whether it was college or work or a trade school, you had options and people were guiding you. But now we're kind of going, I want something else, but there's nobody there to be like, okay, hey, let's look at this. Let's figure out what it is you want and what we can do to get that.
So is that what you do? So is that, I would think that that's what you do. You actually help women discover certain ways that they can overcome some of these struggles?
Yeah. So when I work with women, and this is a generalization, right? Because each woman is so unique, right? And their experience is unique. But what I do is a 3-pillar approach of mood, mindset, and mindfulness. And so when someone comes to me and they say, I'm just feeling off this, I don't know what's next. I kind of feel like maybe I want to go back to school, or maybe I'm just unhappy with the like hobbies that I have, whatever it is, right? Whatever is making them feel like they know something is out there for them. And like what you were saying, have them shine, right? Maybe they feel like they just need to find that way to shine. It's really taking a look at the whole person and saying, okay, so mood to me is nervous system regulation work and somatic work. And if our bodies aren't in a place to receive information or to receive change or to make a transformation, it just is not going to happen, or it's going to be a pretty painful, hard ride to make it happen when our bodies are going, and we're having input that just is constantly putting us in a state of stress, in a state of trauma responses, right? Big or small. So we work a lot on that. We work a lot on nervous system regulation and somatics and breathing work, brain-based healing. And then we take a look at mindfulness. And for me and my clients, mindfulness is getting quiet in the present moment without judgment. But it's in that moment that you're able to make a connection with your intuition and listen to that inner voice. And that can only be done when you are able to get mindful. And it's not surprising that a lot of people struggle to get mindful these days because we're just running. And then the final thing, once we've got our mind and our body, we're then going to take and look at our mindset. And it's not that we need to change our mindsets. It's that we want to learn tools to enhance where we are. And in mindful mindset, for me, we do a lot of looking at limiting beliefs and looking how to reprogram them. And that's really where in the beginning you said conscious healing. I love to say that because we do look at our subconscious and we do look at ways to reprogram it and learn new beliefs, but it's really in that conscious healing that true change can take place.
Yeah, without a doubt, because we tend to get lost in the coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
Yeah, I'm sure you see that also.
Yeah, and I always tell them, what is it that now, now say the kids are in college. What is it that you now really want to do for yourself? And sometimes they have no idea, they clue, or sometimes they say, well, I always wanted to paint, or I always wanted to write or something. So yeah, it's getting them back into that creative, side of them, and know that anything is possible. I want to say.
Definitely, right? That anything is possible. It really takes this look of, okay, we have this life and we can create what we want, and that it all is possible within that.
Well, that's it. So, what do you usually recommend, well, let me ask you a question. Do you find that men also go through the same midlife crisis?
Yeah, it's funny. I get asked this a lot, and my first response is, I'm sure, right? My husband, I definitely think is, and I do think that they go through a period of change where it's almost the same thing. All their life, they've had guidance, sports coaches, teachers, bosses saying, okay, you'd be really good at this, do this, go here. And then this midpoint of life, this midlife, a lot of times we are not in a position to have other people say, this is what you would be really good at. You should try this. And so I find both men and women struggle with that question of, is this it?
Is this it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this it? Is this, I'm 50, 55. Is this it? Is this what I've worked for? Right. Um, I don't actually work with men
Oh, okay.
because I can't, a lot of what I do with women is relatable, and I can't relate to what a man is going through. I
Yeah.
do have people that I would send them to, but I mean, my husband bought an RV this summer. That was his what's next, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's, yeah, looking at, okay, I've worked and I've got this and I have, this is where I'm at. They are a lot more analytical. Like,
Yeah,
this
they
is where
are.
I'm at. This is what I've got. This is
Mhm.
what, but it's still about that question, right? Is this it?
Is this
Can
it?
there be
Yeah.
more?
Well,
And if
that's
there
it.
can
Yeah.
be more, what do I want?
Yeah, because that's the law. So what somebody, say a female that is somewhat, lost, what do you, or how can you help them find that sense of magic or excitement again in their life?
Yeah. So a lot of it goes to um, what values do you have? And then we look at what values are missing from where in your life. Where can we bring those values in?
Mhm.
Because we tend to lose sight of personal values when we're either running a company or running a household. We lose sight of those things that we crave. And I have a fun exercise that I start off with my clients, and it's really, we have a whole, assessment of finding your values and your strengths, and we can figure it out. But a really fun one that sometimes surprises people is, I say, imagine you walk into your living room, describe how you want to feel in 3 words. And then we have those words. And then how do you want someone else to feel? And so we kind of look at these 6 words that we have, and we can really, filter them down into a couple words of feelings that then can be translated into values. And where are we missing that? Right. And you'd be surprised. It's funny. Most people are like, okay, you think, my clients will be like, I think everybody wants their living room to be cozy. And it's like, no, not everybody does. Some people, their first 3 words are, they want it to be sophisticated, and they want it to be impressive, and they want it to be in style, right? Or they want it to be pristine. Like, some of them are like, oh, I want like gorgeous centerpieces, and others are like, oh my gosh, if there's magazines everywhere, I'm happy. So we kind of filter out these words of somebody, you're craving an outlet for style in your life, right? So where can we bring that in? And it's not necessarily always like your wardrobe, which seems like an easy answer, right? Or you're craving community. You really want it to be welcoming. You want someone else to walk in and feel like they're stepping into a hug. You're craving this intimate community, right? So we just kind of have fun with that and see, okay, where are you getting that in your life? Or where could you bring some more in?
And that's what, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. And I said to myself, yeah, I want it to feel peaceful. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've always felt that,
Yeah.
even growing up, I always felt just, peace and calm, you know.
Mm.
So, and that's how I actually, I feel when people come into my home and even into my facility, my office, it does feel very peaceful and calm.
Yeah.
But
So
in
then
my
that's
20s and
great.
30s, it may not have been that way. So
A different kind of peaceful, right?
yeah.
But so then we would say,
Uh-huh.
great, it's wonderful that your living room and your facility feel peaceful and create a sense of calm. But where are you bringing that in personally? Like, do you have, and I'm sure this is kind of a rhetorical question, but
Mhm.
do you have mindful practices daily that are bringing you that sense of peace? So that's where we take it to the next
The
step,
next level.
right?
Right.
We say, okay, well, if somebody said they want everybody to feel welcomed and have enough seats for everybody, well, where in your life are you creating opportunity for community? Like,
Right.
where can we bring that in? And it's not textbook stuff, right? I really believe each person that I work with is the expert on themselves. It's just about being there to witness and be a part of their journey and allow some facilitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. I believe that because everyone's journey is different, and we have to know that it's important for us to be open to change.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
how can you possibly grow on all levels if you stay stagnant, in the same thing?
Yeah, yeah. I tease all the time. Is it like if somebody was to say, "What do you do for fun?" And I told everybody that I played Legos still, like I was 8, you'd be like, "Why? What?" That's
Uh-huh.
staying stagnant. And so so it's totally natural that at this point we're like, "Is this it? What's next?" Because we're not being guided. Where all our life we've been guided.
So do you feel that when someone's in that midlife crisis that they actually have lost their purpose and passion?
I believe that as human beings, we have many purposes throughout our lives. We have many passions throughout our lives. I do think that when somebody comes to this point and they're asking, is this it?
Mhm.
What's next? Like, really, is this it? I think that's a big sign that you might be in need of a new purpose. Not to say that we're going to drop all the other purposes, but a new purpose. We have so many purposes living your truth, and we have so many truths, and we have so many ways we can express that. But often, yes, to answer your question, when somebody is saying, okay, I'm feeling blah and I'm just miserable and I can't seem to like shake it, and I know there's something else out there, we're looking for another purpose.
Yeah, I feel that because even like for myself, I've been doing this for 40 years, and actually probably more than 40 years. And about actually a year and a half ago, I said, okay, I've been doing hypnosis, energy work. I have 2 books. I've done all that, and I truly love what I do and enjoy. It's not work. It's my life purpose. But then I said, all right, but I need to do something else. And then
Mm.
someone had mentioned to me, why don't you do a podcast? And that's how this all started a year ago.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I can't do a podcast. Well, I don't know the first thing about it. I don't even like to be on camera or film, or anything.
Yeah.
But then so I had someone actually, I sought out a coach, and she taught me how to do podcasting. And I said, wow, that was one of the best things that I could have done I just turned 75. So at
Nice.
this age, I said, wow, it gives me, now freedom to interview other people and hear what every life is all about outside, not
Yeah.
just for my clients and stuff, but it's like a sense of freedom, being able just to sit here and chat, you could say.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm doing it actually a year and 2 months.
Oh, great. Oh,
Mhm.
how fun, right? And then to know that it's this another transition
Another
within
transition.
this period of time, right?
Mhm.
And that what that gives us is evidence that if you feel this way again, you'll be able to transition it again, right? So it's just confidence that
Right.
it's almost that saying, it's all figure outable, right? We could just do it, right? It's
Mhm.
okay. It will get done. And there's help. There's people that want to help and want to, like your coach who taught you how to do it, right? This world is just so open these days.
Oh, it is. And I'm so happy that I did this. And at first I was a little fearful to do it. And I said, why am I so afraid? It's the worst I could do is just say the words wrong. I mean, it would be the worst thing, or just, say something crazy. But, yeah, I think fear and our this here really holds a lot of us back.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
It's that second guessing and that's where teaching the mindfulness to get in touch with your intuition, you're able to kind of weed through the fearful kind of mind gremlins and get to really what your heart and soul and spirit is trying to communicate to you.
Right. Like I would tell myself, Barbara, you can do this. It's not hard. Just go for it. Don't be afraid. Just do it. Once you do the first one, the second, third, fourth, and all of them will be easier. And it's exactly what I did.
Oh,
I
nice.
trusted that I'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Trust.
also said positive affirmations to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
And do you switch them for the situation? Like, so when you began doing podcasting, did you add in some new ones? Like, how does that look for you?
Yeah, I switched it up a little bit. And when I first started doing it, I had all women, women guests. And then I said, you need to get some men on here so that it would be fine to have men. And then I did, I have a lot of men. So, and all different topics, and even topics that I may not even know,
Yeah.
but it's fine. It usually it all just flows very nicely and it goes fine. And I love doing this now, and I try to do it at least twice a month, and have
Mhm.
new people on, and it gives that person an opportunity to speak about what they do. And
Yeah.
it's just this is fun, I want to say.
And that's what it's about,
Yeah,
finding that fun again, right?
fun
And
again. Mhm.
sometimes that can be the purpose, right? I want some fun.
Well, that's what I said, because of course, our clients have a lot of challenges, and we feel so much for them. And by doing this, I said, all right, this is a good way to help a lot of people, but also for me to have, find that more, um, light, more just,
Yes.
yeah, I want to say fun and joy, even though I have fun and joy in different ways, but this makes it a little different.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm. So,
Mm.
we'll talk about affirmations. What, uh, how do you have somebody stick to their affirmations?
Yeah, for me, working with somebody and for their affirmations to stick,
Mm-hmm.
you really have to believe it. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes we're backtracking to like the basic, where, if it's, I love myself. So that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
hard sentence for people to say. So then we kind of say, you know, I could love myself one day. I believe I could love myself one day. I think it's possible. So we find the affirmation that sits with them in a way that resonates and speaks their truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find that that's where the one-on-one work really comes in, is because we can dive down and just get specific right onto the individual, what their heart and soul need. And
Yeah.
so, and I think the biggest thing too is, so it's even like with mirror work, right? Like people say, oh, stand in front of the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. That is, now we're doubling down, right? So sometimes the first thing is, you know what? Stand in front of the mirror and just look at yourself for a second and until it feels uncomfortable, and then stop. And we build up that. It's all about finding what works and being consistent. And then that's how people, I think, end up, sticking with it is it works. If it doesn't work, you're not going to do it.
No. And it's funny that you say about the mirror. I think I was in just around my 40s when I was having so much challenges loving myself. And then I remember my grandma would say, she'd call me Babacita all the time. And she would always say, Babacita, always love yourself for who you are. And one day that came in so loud and clear. And so then I looked in the mirror and I said, okay, Barbara, I love you. And then half of me said, no, you don't love me. Who are you kidding? That type of thing. How that other voice here that comes in.
Definitely.
And I said, all right, I need to do this more often. So I would look at myself and I would say it took at least 2 weeks till I finally believed it. And I would look in the mirror and look in my eyes and say, Barbara, I love you. And then of course I'd smirk and do other things. But then one day I actually looked in the mirror and I looked in my eyes and I said, you know what, Barbara, I really do love you. And so it did, all of a sudden, that connection of me being me finally just connected.
Yes.
And
yeah.
When that happens, it's like a light bulb goes on, off, on your head, and you say, okay, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And I think that it is, there's a level of compassion and that you didn't give up on yourself when it was uncomfortable. You said, okay, let me tweak it and we'll try again tomorrow. And so there's that grace that we can give ourselves and not, we can give grace and not give up on ourselves.
Yeah. So important not to give up. I say this too shall pass. Things happen. Some things are good, some things aren't so good, but not to fall truly victim of the not so good things that do come along, and I know we all have not so good things, and even I myself have gone a massive roller coaster ride, but then I was happy that, even though it went down, I still got myself back up. And I feel in my heart, it's so important for us to know that this too shall pass and that it's not a final.
Yes. And I believe that that's where the evidence comes in is, so if we take the roller coaster, right, we can learn from each down, and then the next down doesn't have to go as far because we'll have some evidence about what works for us and how to work with ourselves with compassion. And so I agree, because the good times are going to come and the bad times are going to come, and we just need to navigate. Yeah.
Yeah. And, just know that, there's a reason, many times it's just something that, we're constantly doing over and over and over again. And we're getting hit harder because we're not seeing what it is that we need to change.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
But yeah, midlife is tough for a lot of women. I've noticed. And, and it's like, we need to love and accept ourselves for who we are, because as a female, we are strong individuals.
Oh, yes.
We don't give ourselves enough credit.
No. Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes I say to myself, wow, why don't you see what you've done and accomplished, all your life? Why are you so hard on yourself?
Yeah.
But then again, it could be from, childhood, things that may have come their way.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just learning to celebrate yourself, right? It's just a matter of having new tools and developing them.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Because, to know that life can be beautiful if we move towards it and allow it to be, I want to say. So, what I want to say, maybe what advice can you, do you give to those, women that are entering midlife?
Yeah. I think that the advice, I don't know if it's really advice, but it's more so that you know when something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We all know when something's wrong. And we also all know when enough is enough, right? And when you get to that point that there is resources for you, whether it is like, you know, what you said earlier, Googling things. There's so many ways we can find information on everything that I teach on, right? Everything, you know, there's so many things, but there's also an opportunity because like I said earlier, each woman, they're their own expert on themselves. But when I work with somebody, I liken it to, you know, you're on your path and I just have a flashlight and I'm just holding it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what's on your path and you'll decide which way we're going to go, but I'll be right there just holding this flashlight so that we see where we're going, we see what we need to do, right? And that for me, I don't know if I couldn't do it alone. I didn't want to do it alone. And so I sought help and that was my only way. It was probably a good 5-6 years that I was miserable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What did you do before you became, the life designer coach? And
Yeah.
yeah.
So I actually did substitute teaching while my
Oh.
kids were in school. And so I have 4 boys.
Oh.
My youngest is 17 and my oldest is 26. So while they were in school, I just did substitute teaching so that I could do some work, get out of the house, but then be there when they got home.
Right.
And then I stopped doing that probably just a couple years before COVID. And one of the reasons why I stopped was because I got to the point that I just couldn't do everything. Everything felt overwhelming to me. And that was sort of the beginning of my transition. And I sat in misery. And I mean, I did everything to fill that hole. I drank too much. I ate too much. I shopped too much. My husband at the time, he was joking, but not joking. He used to call our dining room shipping and receiving because I was just having packages come in and we'd have to back them up and send them out if I didn't want it or didn't like even remember that I got it. Like just doing things that I thought would make myself feel better to fill that hole. And then when I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, I just reached out. And that's, I think the biggest piece of, like you said, guidance or advice is to just reach out when you know that your heart and soul is ready for more. You know, there's a different purpose for you. You want to answer that question, what's next? And you want to know that this is not it, right? Reach out.
Yeah. Wow. Some journey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women do the same thing. They either, have a few drinks or they buy too much and it's a little bit of a, crazy making, but it's because they don't know what they really want to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's sadly in our society, sometimes that's what we're told to do to feel better, right? Go relax.
Go relax.
Go treat yourself to something.
Yes.
Go have a drink, relax, go out with your friends and have a night on the town. And that's not bad. I'm not saying that's bad, but when it's to the point that that is the only way you know how to get centered or relax or take some of the pressure away, you're really not. Like I said, you're just compounding it.
Yeah, you're masking it. And then that's when the problems really manifest. And that's when you don't know who you really are.
Yeah, you're telling me. I didn't. It was horrible. And that's why when I was working with my coach, I said I know I could help people and I know I'd be good at it. And I know I can, it's sort of like we're like that quote. And I feel as if it's Rumi, I'm not sure, but we're walking each other home and we're all just on this path at different points. And I know that I can turn around and help women that are kind of not behind me, but at that point in the
That
path.
level. Mhm.
Right. And that's where I still work with coaches myself, because there's people above me that are helping me become a better version of my highest self.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. See, that's what the beautiful thing is that you acknowledge that there was something, more that you needed to do, and
Mhm.
you took action.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a lot. Some people do take action, others do not. So, but yet, I know even for myself, at that age, in the 40s, it was tough. And I
Yeah.
said, gee, I can't be going through all this. I don't understand. But then, I took action and, for me, I was able to help me.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
and then went through like what you did, coaching and
Yeah.
certifications and everything else, so that
Yeah.
we're then able to help others, heal
Yeah.
on all levels.
And like I said, the transitions that happen in midlife, there's more than one,
Mm-hmm.
and they come and they go, right? And so, my youngest client is 34 and my oldest is 74. So
Mm-hmm.
really, it's at any point in time, it's not chronological. At any point in time, you might be at a space where you might say, all right, I'm ready for something else. I'm ready to find that other thing. I want to become different, better. I want to feel this certain way.
Yeah, I feel it's never too late.
Never.
Never too late. I mean, I started writing my third book now, and now, the podcast, I still do my clients and everything else, but there's always something that just brings you to a different level in life.
Yeah. That's all. You're quite an example. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful feeling, and I say to myself, okay, well, what's next now? So I
Right?
don't know.
Yeah. And even
We'll see.
yeah, we were talking at the beginning, like that question is so daunting. What's next?
What's
And
next?
then now you have this experience where just the vibe of the question is totally different. Like you're like, what's next? I'm so excited, right? So that's where we can be. That's awesome.
Maybe at the end of this year, I'll say to myself, what's next now?
Right?
Something has to be.
And anything is possible. So
Yes, anything is possible. But well, gee, Kathy, thank you so much. Where can my listeners find you? And if anyone wants to book sessions with you?
yeah. So I do want to say, I talked earlier about the 3 pillars that I coach with, the mood, mindfulness, and mindset. And if you go to my website, I have this amazing 5-question quiz, which will allow you to see where you might want to start. It kind of gives you a little bit of a hint. And then once you take the quiz, there's just a ton of freebies, audios and PDFs and workbooks, and just a lot of fun. And that's a really great way to see what it's like to work with me. So that's my website, and it's kathybatista.com. And I'm sure you'll have it all in the show notes and the link to the quiz, and just enjoy yourself.
Oh yeah, we'll put all that information down. Yeah, and maybe my New Year's resolution may be what's next with me.
Right.
I don't
We're
know.
going to get, yeah, Barbara, we'll get shirts made, right?
Yes, that's a good idea. What's next? That's a great idea. Are you over 30? Well, what's next?
Exactly, right? Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
do
so
too.
much.
Well, thank you so much, for coming. One more time, your website?
It's kathybatista.com, KathyBatista.com.
Thank
And
you.
I'm
And
on Instagram and Facebook at Coach Kathy Batista.
so we'll have all that on all the links when this comes out in about 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, to be with me today, Kathy.
Well, yeah, definitely.
And, I want to give a big thank you to my listeners. And I hope that you heard what you needed to hear. And I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you, my listeners, and also my very special guest today, Kathy, and your presence and commitment to your own growth and empowerment actually truly inspires me every single day. So keep nurturing your positive thoughts and your self-belief, for they are the keys to unlocking your fullest potential. And, just embrace the challenges as opportunities and trust in the beautiful, unique soul that each and every one of you are. Always remember that your time to shine is not a distant dream. It's a reality waiting to be lived. So just embrace it, embody it, and allow your light to illuminate not only for your own path, but for the world around you. So again, thank you for joining me today, and a very big thank you to my guest, Kathy. And today, here we are, the Spiritual Warrior Coach podcast. So, please subscribe to my channel. And until we meet again, just stay empowered, stay inspired, and keep being the spiritual warrior that you are. So with love and with light, this is Barbara Savin signing off. Bye.